This is the first quality, and it relates to knowledge of the self and identity. Now, without this firm knowledge, we risk suffering from identity confusion. And this is what's happening. There's just so much confusion about who am I, what am I, where am I going, what should I do? And then the pressure, as I said, from society to conform to whatever society is dictating. And these trends are constantly changing. 15, 20 years ago, the discourse was very different. What was popular was very different. And so, if we don't have a solid foundation, a solid, ground to stand upon, then as this quote says, right, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And this is what, unfortunately, a lot of our youth, what's happening to them. They're falling for it. They're falling for the propaganda. They're falling for the emotional manipulation. They're falling for a lot of these messages because they're playing actually on their vulnerabilities. They're playing on their fragmented, confused identities. And these people have agendas. These are very politically divisive times, and there's a lot of groups out there that have their own agenda. They don't really care about a person's individual health, well-being. They just care if you are another, if you ascribe to their club, quote unquote. And so we have to be very aware of these things and realize that self-knowledge is at the heart of that's why it's the first quality of emotional intelligence, of preventing this from happening to us and inshallah our youth especially. And so this, you may have heard of this, but this is one of the also points that we make, that even in our tradition, right, this is a popular maxim in our tradition, and it's also a proverb in Arabic, man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabbahu. We are taught this, and this is repeated by many of our ulama as just an understanding that every believer has. If you don't know yourself, you cannot know your Lord. And so self-knowledge is the starting point. And we have to teach ourselves and our youth to know ourselves again through the correct lens, because there's a lot of people who purport to know, about everything. And there's so much arrogance. But if it's not knowledge that's rooted in what our Creator teaches us, then it's empty. It's without, there's nothing to it. So we want to redirect our hearts, inshallah, back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and what He has to say about us. That's His words, His Prophet's teachings are how we inform ourselves about who we are, not what every other person out there says. Because human beings, of course, are faulted. They don't know. And so really important to understand this concept